Before we talk some UFC with my guest, Jake, I do want to talk about something that happened yesterday in the NBA. And for those of you that have been following the show for as long as you've been following the show, however long it might be, Damian Lillard had 71 points yesterday. And this is now the second player this season to have 70 or more points. Donovan Mitchell earlier this year, he also had 71. And then if you go back a couple of seasons to 2017, Devin Booker had 70. And in between that, you had Harden and Damian Lillard have each had multiple games of 60. And Steph Curry had 62 points just a couple of years ago. But the reason why I'm saying this is I've talked about this in the past, how I think now more than ever before, there is a roadmap and a blueprint, I should say, for a player to be able to score 100 points in a game. And I think that record can be taken down. And hot take, I think it'll go down at some point. And the reason why is if you really look at the box score of Damian Lillard yesterday, I drew this up a couple of years ago trying to explain to people what it would take for someone to get 100 points. And Damian Lillard yesterday, that's the blueprint. I always felt like a guy like James Harden or Steph Curry would be my two prime candidates. Not James Harden now, but 2017, 2018, Houston Rockets, tail end of the Houston Rockets tenure, James Harden, because the roadmap is you got to hit 15 to 23s. And these are guys that are volume shooters, and they are streaky shooters. We've seen James Harden in the past. He'll hit 8 to 9 threes and a half and go crazy. Steph Curry has hit like 11 threes and a half before. But that's what it would take for someone to get to 100 points. And when you look at Damian Lillard's box score yesterday, it really justified how I feel about guys being able to go out there and have a monster game. So he played 39 minutes. They won 131 to 114 over the Rockets. He shot 38 times from the field. He went 13 of 22 from three. And he went 14 for 14 at the free throw line. The reason why you need to get to 20 free throws, I think is the key number, is because the clock also stops. So you could get your buckets at the line and the clock stops. That's one. Two, you need to hit 23s. Before you know it, that's 80 points right there, right? Hypothetically speaking, if Steph Curry goes out there, or you need one of those high percentage volume shooters to get hot. Just have that one night. A couple of years ago, it happened with Steph, and then he ended up not playing much in the second half. And I felt like that might have been the night. In the first quarter, he had like 27 points, and I was like, oh, shit, this is what it's going to take, because he came out the gates, and he was 7 of 8 from three. And you're looking at it, you're like, yo, he has 27 points. And that's what it would take. Dame going to the line yesterday 14 times, stops the clock. He gets his buckets there. But you need a guy that's going to attempt 33s. Just let him go out there and just go for it. Especially one of these guys, like a Devin Booker is another one too, because he's a streaky, high-volume shooter, high-percentage shooter, I should say. And it's now become a talking point. When I was saying this years ago, how I think there is a roadmap for a guy to get to 100 points. And you're seeing some people from The Ringer talk about it. Some people on ESPN were talking about it, because the most points in a game ever was Wilt Chamberlain with 100. We all know that iconic photo. But I would love to hear what you guys think. Do you guys think that, I put up a poll on Instagram, do you think it's easier now to score than ever before? Right? This is 2 games this season where a guy scored 70 or more points. It's pretty wild. And I think there's a case to be made for someone to get 100 points, especially with how the game is evolving, these shooters that are coming into the league. And I think that's the roadmap. I think you need to get 20 to 25 points off the free throw line. And then you need to hit anywhere from 18 to 22 threes. That's around like the 80-point mark. And if you get to 80, like 100 is not that far off. And Kobe got 81 way, way back in the day. But that was also when the three ball wasn't as common as it is now and so popular. So, yeah, I would love to hear your thoughts. Let us know. Tweet us at Veterans Minimum. Hit us up on all social media. And the last thing I will say is this weekend, a VM OG boss will be in Vegas. We're going to go watch the UFC pay-per-view together. He's coming out here for the weekend. So I'll be recording some UFC stuff with him next Monday, a little fallout. We'll have a very special guest on that show as well. And then also, I feel like it's a good time to bring back the People's Podcast. We haven't done one of these in a very, very long time, especially since I moved out here to Vegas. For those of you that are not familiar with the People's Podcast, it's your show. You ask us whatever you want. It could be football, it could be soccer, it could be betting. We had someone ask us if it's weird dating a chick that has OnlyFans. Like other person got divorced because they subscribed to some shit they shouldn't have subscribed for. So the show goes all over the place, but it's your show. It's the People's Podcast. Boss will be on, so you could ask him questions too. You guys are familiar with him, having had him on the show many, many times since he left Veterans Minimum and also was such a big part of the success for the early stages of EM. So I hope you guys enjoy this interview. Coming up, we're going to talk about the big UFC fight this weekend. John Jones coming back. And then, let us know what you think about the potential for a guy to score 100 points. And then drop your questions for Boss and I for next week.